Welcome to the Undisputed Podcast. I'm your host, Joy Taylor. We've got a packed show today. Skip, Shannon, let's get to it. Good morning, guys.
Good morning, Joy. How are you today?
I'm good.
You and I looking very studious.
No mask today. You should be wearing some kind of mask. You should be hiding.
I ain't hiding from nobody.
Nobody?
No.
Oh. How are you, Joy? Good to see you.
Saving. I got a different one for Thursday.
Do you?
Yeah. I've been waiting on this one.
You may be waiting until next year.
No. I tell you what I bet all to do on Wednesday's game.
All to do?
All to do. All 9 cases.
I don't do one-game catch-ups. I don't do it. But we might bet a couple.
That's a good way to get yourself in the hole, too.
Yeah. That's how confident I am.
Depending how many points you give me.
No. Skipper, you're not getting any more points.
You learned your lesson there?
Yeah, I learned my lesson.
Let's get right to game 2. After a heartbreaking loss in game 1, the Cavs were blown out last night, 122-103. LeBron scored 29 points with 9 rebounds and 13 assists, but it was not enough. And Golden State now has a lead in the series 2-0. Kevin Durant scored 26 and Klay Thompson added 20, but Steph Curry was the story of the night. He hit a finals record 9 3-pointers and scored 16 of his 33 points in the fourth as the Warriors pulled away. Let's take a listen to LeBron and Steph after the game.
I never woke up and was like, all right, let's go get 9 threes and get the record. It's more so just about playing the game the right way, having good intentions out there on the court, and good things happen. So pretty special night, and hopefully some more special things happen to get 2 more wins.
It seems like I come up here and tell you guys this all the time. The odds has been stacked up against me since I was, I had a lesson. So, I put our team in position to try to win a championship, to compete for a championship. And, it's my job to make sure that we're as focused, as laser focused as possible, do my job, and continue to instill confidence into my teammates until the last horn sounds. So that's my job, that's my responsibility, that's my obligation, and I need to continue to do that, which I will.
So, Shannon, was last night more about Steph or LeBron?
It was more about Steph. His dagger threes, you remember a couple of weeks ago, Skip, LeBron was saying when he was hitting those turnaround jumpers against Toronto in game 2, he said, yeah, I heard coaches say this all along, that 2 points is 2 points, but all 2 points are not the same.
I agree.
3 points, look, you can get a 3-point play, you can get an and one, but that's not the same as what Steph Curry is doing. And when he's letting it go from the range in which he's letting it go, Skip, there's really nothing you can do about it. Because if you look at it, Skip, overall, he didn't shoot the ball particularly well. He was 11 of 26 from the floor, but he was 9 of 17 from the three. And when you allow one player from one team to go 9 of 17, and the team that he's facing, they make 9 total, there's a very good chance that team's going to get blowed out. But let's put this in, Joy, I know I love to say it again, context. Through 3 quarters, Steph Curry was 6 of 18 from the floor. That's 33%. His teammates were 70%. Can you imagine? LeBron James at any point in time, let's say going into the fourth quarter, LeBron James is shooting 33%. There's a very, very good, there's absolutely no chance that his team would be up by 10 points heading into the fourth quarter. And then what happened early on, Skip, is that they were guarding the 3-point line so heavily that they were getting backdoor layups and dunks. And so now this is the one thing you cannot let that team see. You can't let them see the ball go in, be it layup, dunk, or from the free throw line. Because now all of a sudden the basket starts to expand and everything they put up starts to go in. JaVale McGee is perfect from the floor. Sean Livingston in 2 games has yet to miss from the floor. And KD got comfortable. Klay, even on that bum ankle, got comfortable. So this game really had nothing to do with LeBron. This had everything to do with Steph Curry. 6 of 18 going into the fourth, and then he goes boom, 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 boom. Like a Pete Sanford serve. Game, set, match. It was over at that point in time. And even when the clock was running down, Skip, and he turned around and let it go, tell me you didn't think that ball was going in. I'm more surprised, actually, no matter where he shoots the ball from, I'm more surprised that he misses it than when he makes it. And I don't care where he's shooting from. I don't care the angle. I don't care a hand in his face, a foot in his face, or someone screaming, Steph, you suck. When he shoots, when that ball releases from his hand, when it does not go in, I'm shocked. Because that's the standard in which he's set for himself and the expectations of everybody that's been watching him. Skip, this had nothing to do with LeBron. LeBron could have had another 50-point night unless his teammates going to come along and chip in like what Kevin Durant did, 71% from the floor, gave you 26 and 9. Clay on that bum ankle gave you another 20. So Steph Curry got it going late, but he hit some big dagger threes early that they get it to 5. Next thing you know, it's back to 11. They get it to 6, and it goes boom, 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 and it's back to 15. So this was all about Steph Curry and the Warriors.
Joy, as usual, I saw a very different game than my friend Shannon Sharpe saw across the table for me. So before I get to LeBron, I want to get to the game in general. It was a really weird game to me. And speaking of Steph Curry, and you did point out that he was only 6 for 18 through the first 3 quarters, he shot at least 3 shots through the first 3 quarters that were just absolute all-time bad shots that hit nothing but nothing, where he just threw things up, and I'm like, what are you doing? Like, what was that? But he gets away with it because he can do this.
Yeah.
And when he does this, you forget about all that. And speaking of green lights, has anybody in the history of the league ever had a greener light than Steph Curry?
No.
Nobody. And it took him a while to earn his green light, but about 4 years ago, he did. And once he's got green, man, he just, you want to talk about no conscience and no memory, he just shoots whatever. So when you ask me, did I think that shot was going in? I didn't, honestly. I was shocked that shot went in, as Kevin Love called it, the moonball shot at the end of the clock. He just heaved it and it went in. I know the Golden State coaches talk about it. They practice those shots. I get that. And nobody's ever been able to make those shots the way Steph Curry has.
As consistent.
As consistent.
People make them, but they're not with the consistency in which he does.
Is it a high degree of difficulty shot? Yeah, it is. But that was at the end of the clock. He had no other choice. But if I step back from this game, I got to tell you, Golden State was not great for those first 3 quarters. And you can look at my timeline of tweets. I tweeted several times. Golden State was looking shaky to me. They were looking unsure of themselves, like, who are we, what are we? I saw some incredibly careless turnovers. I saw Steph, obviously, as you point out, missing more than he hit, 6 out of 18. He was 4 out of 12 from 3 going into the fourth quarter. And I saw a Steph who was not great. I grant you, obviously, Steph ended up with more help than LeBron ended up last night. But Cleveland wasn't great either for 3 quarters and managed to hang in the basketball game. And after 3 quarters, as we just got into the early fourth quarter, remember Larry Nance Jr. snatches an offensive rebound and kicks it out to LeBron James, and he rips it from the top. He had a wide open 3 from the top of the circle and ripped it. And all of a sudden, it's a 7-point game. And I got to tell you, I sat back and thought, here we go. Because in fourth quarters throughout the playoffs, Golden State has had a hard time closing games. They had a hard time closing the one in game 1 on Thursday night.
Correct.
And I can show you lots of Houston games, and before that, I can show you a New Orleans game where they had a hard time closing the basketball game because who's their alpha? Who's the guy? Who's the it factor for them? And you can tell me now after last night it was Steph. There have been many times it wasn't Steph.
Correct.
And sometimes it was, and then it wasn't Kevin Durant. So last night I'm thinking, well, here we go. And after LeBron's 3, what did Steph Curry do? He dribbles the ball up the floor, 1 quick pass, got the ball back, got the switch on to Larry Nance Jr., and he shot the shot of shots to me. That was the first 3 he made in the fourth quarter, and it was huge for this series because it was a psychological touche to LeBron.
Yes, I thought the same thing.
Anything you can do, I can do better. And it put it right back up to 10 points, and all of a sudden I'm thinking, uh-oh, is he going to do this? And he comes right down the next time after a Cleveland miss, and he makes another one. And then he makes the moonball shot clock 3. And then he makes the one on Kevin Love over in the corner that's a 4-point play. And now it's not fair because once he does that, it is game over. Yeah. And it was over like that. And a game that was teetering for them because he finally went off suddenly was all Golden State, and it looks much worse to me than it actually was because for 3 quarters and some, it was still a game. So, here for me is why last night was more about LeBron than about Steph. Because all of a sudden, shockingly to me, maybe you can explain this, LeBron came out with a new identity I did not anticipate. I anticipated LeBron to do what he did in Game 1. I anticipated LeBron to do what he did in Game 2 in 2015 when they won in overtime. Remember that game? Mm-hmm. That night, he went 39, 16, and 11, but he scored 39 on 35 shots. So he was in full-on attack mode in Game 2 of 2015. Again, he had just lost Kyrie, and he didn't have Love.
Right.
So he's full-on attack mode from tip. And by golly, he pulled it off. He needed a little help from Dellavedova at the end, who got the offensive rebound putback. But the point last night was, all of a sudden, LeBron went into point guard LeBron. He went into the passive passer right from the start. And I'm saying, who are you? What are you doing? Because he was a little disengaged in the first half to the point that Chauncey Billups on ABC at halftime said, he looks tired to me. And I'm thinking, he's not tired. But what is he? He's in a different mode. And trust me, every time he made a pass to one of his teammates, Golden State's like, oh, thank you. Because clearly, he was not turning up the heat right away on Golden State on either end of the floor. Cleveland, as a group, was passive on defense, and they were a little passive in the first half on offense. And it starts and finishes with that nuclear weapon who is LeBron James, who you say is better than Michael Jordan. So I'm going to give you what you think, and so now we have to grade him by above Michael Jordan curve. And in this game, I don't know where did the passive passer come from? I wasn't ready for that.
He had 51, 8, and 8. And can you tell the people at home what he get him on Thursday night?
It got him overtime.
No,
it got him a great shot. It got him the ball in his hands with 7 seconds left with Steph Curry guarding him. It got him a shot at winning Game 1.
At my restaurant, I have open, closed, wins, losses. I don't do overtime.
What did passive passer get LeBron?
They got him a loss.
It got him a loss because passive passer LeBron last night is down 4 after the first quarter, and I don't know how they even stayed within 4. He's down 13 at half. He's down 10 after 3, and he's down 19 after 4.
They were down 4 points going into the second quarter. Can you tell the people at home of those 28 points, how many did LeBron score or assist on?
I don't know. I don't have that box. Do you have it?
Yeah, all number 4.
Okay.
So
all right, fine, but mostly they're assists. Wouldn't you say they're mostly assists because he's just. He is in full-on point guard mode. He's dribbling the ball up the floor, and he's actually passing to the perimeter mostly on the first pass.
They had 28 points. LeBron James had 10 points, 5 assists, and 4 rebounds. Did that look attack mode to you?
Nope, it was not attack. Did you think he was attacking? Boy, I didn't.
So let me get this straight.
That was point guard LeBron to me.
So let me get this right. He has 10 points, 5 assists, 4 rebounds on 4 shots. He's 3 or 4. 4 or 5 from the free throw line. So 4 or 5 from the free throw line tells me what, Skip? If he shoots 5 free throws in the first quarter, what does that tell you? Is he jump shooting or is he driving the ball?
So in Game 2 of 2015, he shot 18 free throws. Last night, he shot 9 total. Is that attack mode?
Yeah,
I don't think so.
I'm asking you a question.
Do you realize last night he missed 7 shots at the rim?
Yeah.
Which was unusual.
Okay.
I don't know what that was.
It's a make or miss lead.
Okay. Yeah.
Because on Monday night, those shots, he made some unbelievable, some incredible shots. You and I believe the officiating has not been great in this.
It has not. I will give you that.
LeBron is not getting the calls that he deserves. But think about this, Skip. How does the Cavs win if KD, Steph, and Clay shoot 55% from the floor and they shoot 50% from the 3?
Maybe you can play defense. Have you ever heard of that? Because the Cavs didn't hear of it during the regular season because they were the 29th out of 30 teams, and Golden State just had its way last night. And every shot's like uncontested. You keep getting Kevin Durant on little George Hill, and it's like, is that fair?
Did you notice something last night, Skip? Did you notice Kevin Durant, how effective he was? He was 10 of 14 on 71 shots. But guess why was that, Skip? Because he didn't spend the majority of his time on guarding who? The offensive weapon, which is LeBron James.
I don't know. He guarded him a lot in the first half especially. He was on him just about every time, I thought.
I think I saw Draymond Green guard him.
Boy, I had Kevin Durant on him most of the first half. I did.
So you didn't see none of Draymond?
Unless they switched. Unless they got a quick switch.
I'm going to get you a new TV. I'm going to get you that 4 depth like I got so you can see Draymond Green.
I'm going to get you a TV with sound.
No, I don't want no sound. I don't want no sound because
you can pay a little extra and they'll give you sound.
You know what?
It's not, how much extra is it?
I think it just comes with
You know what?
Does it come with sound?
I treat television volume like you treat Twitter.
Yeah.
So you can get swayed by what people are saying. Yeah, I don't do that. See, what I'm saying right now is all me. I ain't hear no Mark Jackson.
Van Gundy.
Yeah, exactly.
Twitter.
Yeah, exactly. That's their opinion. Let me have mine. Let me formulate my own thought. As I was saying again,
Mr. Sharpe, would you like sound or no sound with your TV?
Zero.
I think I'll have no sound.
I want no sound. But Skip, look, think about how we're grading LeBron. The guy shoots 50% from the field. He's 29, 13, and 9. And we're saying, you know what? It was about him. The guy's averaging 40,
Shannon.
10 and a half,
Shannon.
and 8 and a half.
He's better than Michael Jordan, say you. And so I'm saying, okay, show me, take the game. Because in 2015, he just took the game over. And remember, there's no Iguodala, so it's not like they're a super team right
Skip,
now.
you make it seem like Michael Jordan never had a bad game, and he did. In Game 5, do you remember Game 5? Hold on, Skip. Do you remember Game 5? They were up 3-1. They were getting ready to pop the champagne. Can you tell the people at home that were not around and watched that game? Can you tell me what Michael Jordan shot in the game and what the media wrote about him in the paper? Can you tell them?
I don't know what the media wrote. I know what I wrote.
No, what'd you write?
But he took a last shot and missed it.
No. He didn't just miss it. What happened, Skip?
Well,
Air ball.
huh?
Air ball.
I don't think it was an air ball.
Air.
I don't remember it being an
9
air ball. I
of
just remember it
26.
missed. Yep.
Why wasn't Michael? Hold on. So
Okay, so then what did he do in Game 6 at Utah?
okay, look. Can we see what LeBron's going to do in Game 3?
Okay, yes, we can.
Okay, that's
Because this is on him now.
Yeah.
This is the one.
He knows this is a must-win
Yeah.
game.
The
This is
world,
a Game 7.
the world will expect him to win Game 3 at
Yes.
home, right?
Yeah. Well, I hopefully we're going to get. Let me ask you a question. Is JR going to give us more than 5 points? Well, answer me this. You listen to the sound. What did Jeff Van Gundy and Mark Jackson? Mark's a good friend of mine. What did Mark say about Jordan Clarkson playing, Ty Lue playing Jordan Clarkson all these minutes? What did they say about that?
I don't think they mentioned it last night. It does not stick in my memory that they mentioned it. But the guy I wondered about was Kyle Korver because Kyle Korver is their Steph. He can do pretty close to what Steph. When he gets going, hey, when he starts shooting those threes like they're free throws, it can be pretty scary for the opponent.
Korver to come off the bench before Clarkson. Korver plays best with LeBron. They're bringing in Clarkson and Korver.
Yep.
No, Skip. I get it.
Okay, so
he's athletic and all this, but he's herky-jerky, and this is not the moment for
And
him.
by the way, Kyle Korver still plays pretty good, pretty hard defense.
Yes,
He'll play as hard as he can play on defense.
Given his
and
athleticism,
He's
absolutely.
got some savvy, and he'll disrupt.
Yes.
He'll tick some balls up in the air. So he's played 17 minutes in each of these games. He was 0 for 3 in the first game just because he didn't get in any rhythm, get any shots. Right. And last night he was 1 for 3. No, I'm sorry, he was 0 for 3 last night, 1 for 3 in the first game. 0 for 3 last night because he shot 1 free throw, the technical free throw. So he scored 1 point. So he's a grand total of 1 for 6 from the field and 1 for 4 from 3 in 34 total minutes. That's who is that?
Well,
where is he?
He can't find a rhythm because he used to being at bare minimum first or second guy off the bench. And now Jeff Green's up before he is. Jordan Clarkson is up before he is. And that's not going to work. Skip, if you're going to allow the big three for the Cavaliers, for the Warriors to get around 75, 80 points a game, it's going to be very tough sledding. Because let's just say for the sake of argument, and I know you was heaping Kevin Love because you love Kevin Love because you say LeBron got so much help. And he was spectacular in the third quarter because he was 4-4 in the third quarter. Now, overall, Kevin Love was 7 of 18. So if he goes 4-4 in one quarter, what was his after that, Skip?
I don't know. I didn't major in math like you did.
Oh, I'm happy to be good. So in other words, he was 3 of 14,
Yep.
notwithstanding the fourth quarter. The third quarter. So is that good? Because he was 9 of 20 the first night, and now he's 7 of 18 the second night. So even if you say, let's just say this, Skip, I want to give you this. Kevin Love's our second best player. And let's just say for the sake of argument, he's Anthony Davis. So LeBron and KD cancel each other out. Steph Curry and Kevin Love, a.k.a. Anthony Davis, cancel each other out. Can you tell us who our Klay Thompson is?
Can be any one of a bunch of guys. It can be Kyle Korver. It can be J.R. Smith. It can be Jordan Clarkson.
So what have you seen from them in the playoffs that consistency and consistently matches up with what Klay Thompson has shown you through not only throughout the season but also throughout the playoffs?
Well, I saw a flash in the third quarter that you mentioned, which was a feat that I did not think was possible because I saw your Cleveland Cavaliers not exactly led by LeBron James, doing something I thought was impossible at Oracle. They won the third quarter that Golden State has owned throughout the playoffs. Am I right about that,
They
Mr.
did.
Sharpe?
They did.
They won 34-31 in the third quarter, setting the tone, and I thought setting them up for making a run at the game in the fourth quarter. And in the third quarter, as you point out, Kevin Love went 4 for 4, 3 for 3 from three.
Yeah,
and by the
13
way, Tristan Thompson went 4 for 4. So you tell me that, oh, look what Livingston did, and look what Durant did, and look what all the, what JaVale did.
Oh, yeah.
But you got Tristan Thompson going 4 for 4 from the field in the third quarter. And LeBron was kind of an afterthought, right? He was 3 for 5.
Yes. Think about so an afterthought. Kevin Love has 13 points, 4 for 4. Tristan has 18. Klay Thompson has 10. Kevin Durant has 9. Steph Curry scored 1 point in the third quarter, and they only lose that quarter by 3 points. So let that sink in. The guy took more, made more three-pointers than anybody in the history of the game in the finals.
Yep.
Scored 1 point, and going into the fourth quarter, they still have a double-digit lead. If you don't mind me asking, if LeBron James were to score 1 point in the third quarter, do you think his team would have a 10-point lead going into the fourth quarter?
I don't know, but when Kevin Love goes off like that's an all-star. That's a 5-time all-star. That's a big-time playoff player making big-time plays.
The difference between what Kevin Love did in the third quarter is that Kevin Durant is giving you that consistently throughout the game. Klay Thompson is giving you that consistently throughout the game. See, you talk about 1 quarter. See, 1 quarter, you can't play 1 quarter because in the previous 3 games before last night, they were down by double digits in 3 of those games.
Yep.
They won all 3 of them. So you can't play quarter. You have to win the game because
Okay, here's my bottom line on last night. You predicted the Cavaliers would win. I predicted Golden State would blow them out in Game 2 because I thought they were going to win Game 1. That's what I predicted, and they had their chance in Game 1. LeBron had the ball in his hands with 7 seconds left, Steph on him, top of the circle, and we know the rest of the story. Then it goes to overtime, and Steph Curry scores 0 points in overtime, and it's 17-7 home team. And by the way, Durant did, what did he score, like 1 point in the fourth quarter, 2 points? So you get nothing from your 2 big guns, right?
Yeah.
And you win 17-7, and that was basically, to me, the series tone. It got set right there, so it wasn't shocking to me what happened last night. Now it's up to LeBron and company. You always say, role players play better at home in the playoffs, right? So they need to win Game 3 and 4, and then we can start to have our conversation again, right?
What conversation we having?
Well, you've got Cavaliers winning in 7.
Oh, I thought you were talking about a conversation about who's the best player. I thought that conversation, we don't need to have that conversation.
Well, it was funny. Last night it was weird because Kevin Durant was a plus 26 last night, which led all players, and LeBron was the worst player on the floor at minus 18. I don't know.
If you don't mind,
I don't know.
If you don't mind,
it probably means nothing.
Let me ask you a question. Poll 1 million people that watched that game and ask them how many of them think LeBron James was the worst player on the court last night. And let's see what that number comes back at.
Wow.
By the way, you don't have the sound up, but on ABC, Paul Pierce is saying once again, Kevin Durant's the best player on the planet. I don't know.
But Paul Pierce changes his mind because just the other day, because I don't listen to the game sound, but I heard him the other day. He said that LeBron James was the best, and it wasn't even close.
He said that?
Yeah, that's what he said. So he picked. So I don't know. Paul must be forget that I go back. I get it for you.
Shannon, it's a real shame. You really should try the sound.
No, I shouldn't.
It's quite a good broadcast.
I'm good.
You're good?
You'd rather get your opinions from Philo 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7?
No, I'd rather get my
You're
opinion.
constantly reading the opinions on Twitter, but you're
No,
not.
I don't need no opinion. I don't need no opinion for this right here.
These are decorated broadcasters,
Yeah,
and you'd rather
I'm
listen
decorated.
to Twitter.
You see how your boy decorate? I'm decked out.
You're decked out.
Yeah.
Well,
Got
Shannon,
something for you.
not to pile on Jordan
Thursday,
Clarkson, Shannon, but he's 37 of 123 from the floor.
Who?
In 19 games. Jordan Clarkson.
37 or what?
For 123 of 123.
And
He's shooting 30%. 24%.
So I should keep him out there, huh?
I would consider shaking it.
Yeah.
Did Steve Kerr take a shot at LeBron last night? We'll discuss that.
Shake
next.
him up. Shake things up. Shake his, you know what up.
No mercy.
Hey guys, it's Joy Taylor. Before the show moves along, I wanted to talk to you about Buffalo Wild Wings. This time of year brings us two things, graduations and Father's Day, and the gifts that go along with them. Before you buy Dad another tie or that grad a balloon that will probably float away, ask yourself this. Does my dad or grad like wings or sports, or better yet, both? If the answer is yes, then get them a Buffalo Wild Wings gift card. Right now, if you purchase $30 worth or more in-store or online, they'll give you a $5 bonus to keep for yourself. That's a gift that gives back. How generous of you. Buffalo Wild Wings, wings, beer, sports. Terms and conditions apply. Now back to the show.
No mercy.
After game one, LeBron was repeatedly asked about J.R. Smith's blunder at the end of the game, and he walked out of the press conference and said to the media, quote, "Be better tomorrow." Last night, Steve Kerr ended his press conference with a pretty direct message. Let's take a listen.
Thank you, Coach.
By the way, I thought you guys were much better today. Good job.
Kerr with the jokes. Skip, was this a shot at LeBron?
Shannon Sharpe.
Yes.
This was a direct shot at LeBron James. This is part and parcel of what I talked about on last Friday's show, what I tweeted about really at the end of Thursday night's game. This is all about what insufferable front runners that the Golden State Warriors can be. And this man, Steve Kerr, nice man, Steve Kerr, he sets the tone for all this taunting, gloating, shimmying, front running, this hot dogging. It's all from Steve Kerr, who learned from Phil Jackson, Michael Jordan. They weren't like this. Phil could be a little bit of a front runner and a shot taker like that. But this was shocking to me because Steve Kerr is making fun of LeBron James for getting testy with the media, especially with ESPN's Mark Schwartz, who was the one who was the stickler there. He just kept going at him and at him about what do you think JR was thinking, and we went back and forth about that. And finally, LeBron literally dropped the mic, not because of what he said, because what he didn't want to say, and he stormed off the podium and out the door and said over his shoulder, I think mostly to Mark Schwartz, was it be better tomorrow? Some people said it was do better. I thought it was be better tomorrow. That was premeditated from Steve Kerr. That wasn't some off-the-cuff remark some throwaway line at the end of his media session. He planned to say that, obviously, if they won, because Steve Kerr was clowning LeBron James, just the way LeBron was clowning the Raptors, as you mentioned in our our first segment today, because remember, LeBron shot one fadeaway and made it on Toronto, whom he has little to no respect for. He does not fear the Raptors. And then he starts coming down and he shot like 7 in a row, fadeaways. And it seemed like he made 6 out of 7. And that's when I'm tweeting, you're just clowning these guys. You're just rubbing it in on them. And I think Steve Kerr was rubbing it in also. This is Steve Kerr's way of shimmying or gloating or taunting. And he's playing a dangerous game because LeBron James is a nuclear weapon. You're providing rocket fuel for LeBron James. If I'm LeBron James, I am furious over that. This shouldn't be, some fraternity that they're all in, because that wasn't fraternal, that was a shot. And if I'm LeBron, I'm saying, okay, Steve Kerr, watch this in Game 3. Except Steve Kerr doesn't think LeBron and company are capable of watch this. That was Steve Kerr basically saying to you, we're going to sweep these guys. Because what did he say in response when he was told that Mike D'Antoni had said to Kevin Durant, hey, if we'd had CP3 healthy, we would have won this series, the Houston series, right? And later he was caught at dinner and he said, if we'd had Iggy, we would have won in 5 games. That was the equivalent of we would have won in 5 games. He's just saying, we got this. He's setting a tone for his team to front run, to gloat, to flex, to shimmy. This is the Steve Kerr that I find insufferable when he wins. And I hope LeBron takes this one to heart.
Well, I have a differing of opinion than you, because I do not believe he was taking the shot. If you remember on Media Day, I think it was Friday, they asked LeBron about, did you see what Dan Gilbert tweeted from his phone? And he's like, nah, I'm not on social media, I don't follow attention. But it was from his phone, though, right? Boom, making light of the Brian Colangelo situation. Skip, if also on Thursday night, Steve Kerr said something. He said, we're watching a guy playing at a level we've never seen before. Was he trolling Michael Jordan?
No.
Okay.
but that was game one. They barely won it. And he said we were very, very lucky to win game one.
No.
Now they got him.
No, don't parse his
They
words
can't
now.
help themselves.
Now, don't parse his word. Now you want to talk about this was after this. He's saying we're watching a guy playing at a level we've never seen before. He said that having played next to the guy that you said is the GOAT. Now, if he wasn't...
I didn't say it. Everybody.
No, there ain't no everybody. So now you everybody.
I'm in the majority.
There ain't no everybody.
Yeah.
Because I'm somebody, and I ain't said it. Nah, Roy, tell that.
You have said it.
I have not.
You've
said
run
it.
and untold that a
said
few
it.
times. Yep.
Broad is the GOAT.
Yep.
GOAT James it is.
Yep.
Skip, look. Steve Kerr gets it. He was in the media once. And sometimes, you guys say things that when you're in that side of the table, you don't get an opportunity to respond back. Because, you're still going to have to ask questions. You're still going to want to get interviews. And a lot of times, the way these guys do it, Skip, if you tick one of these guys off, they take it personal, and then all the other superstars see how he got treated, and they're like, well, later for you, I ain't doing it either. Look, LeBron ain't paying no attention to Steve Kerr. Steve Kerr gonna do his talking.
Maybe he should.
Look,
Maybe it would help.
Skip, that's how, look, Coach Belichick, all these guys, when you got a transcendent team, that's what happens. Phil Jackson was insufferable.
Transcendent team?
Yet
New England? That defense?
you have a transcendent player.
Oh, thank you.
They say things, well, they try to, they're tough and all this. That's why that loss to the Eagles hurt so bad, because they actually thought they were going to win. When you get a guy like Steve Kerr, or you get Phil Jackson, and they coach these all-time great teams that have these historically great players, you get an opportunity and you say some things, Skip, I can assure you, if he's with the Brooklyn Nets, he would not have made a slight of this. In a regular season game or any.
You got that right.
But when you got KD, you got.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. You got it.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, he's laughing at you. He's basically saying, we're not afraid of those guys. This is going to be over.
No. He's not saying that. Oh, I'm afraid of that guy, but I just know what he has around him. Can't no way they can't touch us. Oh, I'm afraid of him because I know what he's capable of doing. I've seen him average a triple-double and lead everybody in statistical stats. I've seen him go 36, 13, and 9 and take 2 games off of without their 2 best players. Let me ask you a question. If you take Golden State's 2 best players from them right now, second and 3. So whomever that is, if it's Steph and Clay, if it's KD and Clay, if you take those 2 players off right now, do you still believe the Warriors could beat the Cavaliers?
Shannon, if LeBron James is as great as you say, if he's the all-time greatest player in the history of basketball, none of this should matter, because only 5 can play at once. And no game in the world can be influenced by one player the way basketball
That's all they
can.
had on the court at the Big
You
Three?
You can just terrorize people. You can set the tone as a one-man show that can be virtually unbeatable. You can set the tone.
Skip,
LeBron set no tone last night.
Skip, did you know all weekend I was waiting for you to say this? I've been waiting all weekend. I sat alone in my house and I'm thinking, if Skip say this, one man can influence. So it's funny.
You sat alone in your house?
I sat alone, me and my dogs, and I was thinking, and they was like, Dad, why are you not petting us? What's going on? And I was looking at myself in the mirror. I said, I hope Skip walks into this trap.
Shannon, that doesn't sound healthy.
Yeah, I'm good. Trust me, I'm good. Skip, you just said the best player can influence the game. So if that's the case, why couldn't the best player beat the Big 3 Celtics?
When LeBron was a kid? When Michael was a kid? Is that what we're talking about?
You told me the best player can influence the game because he plays both sides of the ball. Now I'm asking you.
Once Michael broke through and won his first championship, he was the nuclear weapon. Nobody could touch him. It didn't matter who. You could have Malone, Stockton, Hornacek. They couldn't reach him. He was beyond invincible.
If you don't mind me asking, what transpired with the Big 3 Celtics during the time that Michael won his first championship?
That's one of the greatest teams, one of the mentally toughest teams I have ever seen. Do you know how good Larry Bird was?
Do you know how good Kevin Durant is?
Hey, seriously.
Do you know how good Steph Curry is?
Do you know how good Kevin McHale was? He was unstoppable in the low post. Michael had nobody who could deal with him in the low post.
So let me
Robert Parrish was 7 feet tall, and he was nasty.
So let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
So who does LeBron? Let's just say LeBron.
Remember, after was it the second game? They said that's God disguised as Michael Jordan.
I'm glad you said that.
Anybody say that?
No. Okay. If you don't mind me asking, that the first 2 games, because back then, Joey, that was a little bit before your time. Joey, back then the games was the best 3 out of 5. The first 2 games was in Boston. In double overtime, Michael Jordan scored 63 points. Skip, if you don't mind me asking, that third and final game that was in Chicago Stadium, can you tell the people at home what
Shannon,
Michael
if
Jordan
you don't
shot
mind
for
me asking, what team beat Magic and Kareem and James Worthy and Byron Scott and Michael Cooper? What team beat them twice in the finals? I think those guys you're talking about beat them twice. What do you think about that, Shannon? How do you explain that? Was that luck? I don't know.
Because an all-time great,
Greatness.
because an all-time great team will beat an individual player. So if you're saying on equal footing, because at that time,
once you grow up and take over, he's finishing his 15th season in the NBA.
So if you don't mind me asking, okay, so the equivalent. So which one of those guys that LeBron is playing with is Kevin McHale, Robert Parrish, or Dennis Johnson, if you don't mind me asking?
Well, Kevin Love's pretty good.
No, that's not what I asked.
5-time All-Star.
Is he better than Kevin McHale?
Okay, but what are we talking about? An all-time great team? Do I think the Celtics could have beaten this Golden State team? I do.
Man, you out your mind, Skip.
I'm not out of my mind. I'm not out of my mind.
Skip,
that team
in today's game,
with
Skip,
Danny Ainge and Dennis
Skip,
Johnson.
Skip.
Hey, we're talking about mental and physical
Guys,
toughness. You're not getting
Skip,
it. You're
guys
not getting it.
The athletes are better to now. On average, the athletes are better now. They run faster, they jump higher, they shoot the ball. There are 3 guys on the team.
What did we see LeBron do in 2015? He lost Kevin Love, then he lost Kyrie.
He
and
lost
what
the
did he
series.
Do? Yeah, but he had them.
No, he did not.
He won game 2, and then he went home and won game 3 pretty easily, pretty handily. Wait a second. You're just sweeping that under the carpet.
I'm not sweeping under the carpet.
They had those guys. They had them 2-1 with game 4 in the King's house.
Okay.
What happened?
Hold on, Skip. But why do you do that?
I'm not doing anything.
In
It's just
2016,
you had a
Golden
chance.
State had them. 3-1. What happened, Skip?
Yeah.
Yeah. What happened, Skip?
Okay, so he
sweep
took
it up
over.
under the rug.
No, I'm not. You're making my case. He took over. He had help from Kyrie, obviously.
And guess
Kyrie
what?
had to make the closer shot.
So how is this equal now? The Cavaliers in 2016 got lost in 5 games. They got beat 4-1. Okay, they lose Kyrie. The Cavs in 2016 beat a 73-9 team that was up. They go get the second best player. So how is that equal footing?
All I know is the Golden State I'm watching night after night, that's not a mentally tough basketball team. I'm sorry, they were shaky last night. They looked beatable to me.
As great as Larry,
They don't have mental toughness.
as great as Larry Bird was, and I believe I believe he's the second best small forward to ever play behind LeBron James. The Golden State Warriors got 3 guys that can shoot the ball equal to, if not better than Larry Bird. Say I'm lying.
As long as they're in their comfort zone that LeBron allowed them to be in all game long last night.
How can LeBron guard 3 people? He's one person.
You got to guard somebody, and he guards nobody. You realize in defensive win shares through the first 2 games, he's dead last on both teams in the finals? He's just not guarding anybody. Guard somebody. Just guard somebody. Set a tone on defense.
Yeah.
Michael set the tone every night on defense. He was a terror on defense, even at age 34, which is a year older than LeBron is now.
Okay, well, how about this here, Skip? How about this here? He had Horace Grant, who was an all-defensive player. He had Scottie Pippen, who was an all-defensive player. He also played with Dennis Rodman, who was a 2-time player of the year. Ron Harper was a defensive stopper.
Who set the tone for that team? I was there.
You can say what, but that.
I was there.
You keep talking about setting
he set the defensive
How
tone.
does that take away from
He turned them
them?
into great defensive
Stop
players.
It, Skip Bayless. Stop
Nope,
it. Stop
I'm not.
It.
I'm going to start it.
Why you get
Michael Jordan made first team all defense at age 34, 1 year older than LeBron is
How
now.
many times
Why didn't LeBron play any defense?
How many times did Scottie Pippen make first team all defensive player? Name the guy that LeBron James has played with that's first team all defensive player in his career. Name the one guy, Skip.
Maybe he should have said.
No. I ain't talking about maybe. You keep telling me, oh, he made this. Tell me the guy that LeBron James has played with that's been a
He's got
first
some
team.
good defenders.
I'm not saying
Shumpert
good.
was good. I think JR is a really good defender. He is.
First team all defense. Name the guy.
Well, again, Scotty followed the lead.
Oh, so Scottie Pippen was an all defensive player.
Yeah. What happened to Scotty after he left Michael? Help me out.
What happened to Michael after he left Phil? What happened to Michael before
After
he got
left
Scottie?
Phil, he took 3 years off and came back at 39 and 40.
If he's that guy,
Really?
If he's that guy, because LeBron James has taken a very similar team to the NBA Finals. If the East has always been weak, Michael Jordan got to get those Wizards to the playoffs. He
Here's
finished
all I know,
fifth in his
Shannon.
division.
Your man had the game in his hands at the end of game 1, 7 seconds left, and you didn't close the deal. You had overtime
He made
at
a winning
Oracle
play.
in game 1, didn't close the
He
deal.
made a winning play in game 1.
You went 0 for 4
He made
in
a winning
overtime.
play.
That's not Jordan-esque.
No mercy.
The Cavs now return home down 2-0 after the blowout loss last night. Game 3 will be Wednesday at the Q, where the Cavs are 8-1 in the playoffs this year. Last night, LeBron said even though they played well at home, they should still be, quote, uncomfortable. So, Shannon, can the Cavs still win this series?
They can, but game 3 is game 7. You're not beating this team 4 times in a row. Is there a greater chance you can beat them 4 out of 5? Sure, but you're not beating them 4 in a row. This is a game 7. This is a must win. And you hate to say, well, they still got to get to 4. No, you need to play as if your hair is on fire and someone just broke into your house and you're fighting for your life. So that's what they need to do. That's the kind of intensity they need to come out with. Now, they say role players play better at home. Well, these role players, they've been toilet rolled. That's what they've been doing because they've been some boo-boo Skip Bayless, and you know it. I don't know what's going on. Lou, let me give you advice. If you want to play Jordan Clarkson, Larry Nance doesn't need to come in when Jordan Clarkson comes in. Larry Nance is a big boy. He can go on his own. So can you please, I'm willing to forgive and forget that Rodney Hood wouldn't even go in the game with 8 minutes left, Joy. That's how desperate I am. LeBron knows he's averaging 40, 10.5, and 8.5, and he's down 0-2. So it's probably going to take somewhere around 40, 15, and 15 in order for them to have a chance to win. But Kevin Love's going to have to give him 20 and 15. And JR, I don't know what JR on. But like I said, remember I said in a stressful situation, sometimes the mind will shut down. Now, he said he knew the game was tied. Now, we read his lips, and he said on the court, when LeBron asked him, like, what are you doing? I thought we were ahead. Now, he gets in his press conference, he said, well, I knew that we were tied. And then on Saturday before the game, he says, well, I can't be really sure what I was thinking. I'm more in line with that, Skip Bayless. His mind shut down on him, but his game has shut down on him. So they need to play better. Kyle Korver will play substantial minutes. Jeff Green, you're not a spot-up shooter. You're not. You need to put the ball on the floor and get to the basket. You need to be more aggressive. That's what needs to happen. I'm not worried about the last thing that I'm worried about in a basketball game is LeBron James. If you're going to tell me these other guys are going to give me something, Sean Livingston's giving you 10 points off the bench. JaVale McGee gave you 12 points, Skip, in that little bit of minutes that he played. They need activity like that because LeBron is going to be LeBron, but can we get 2 other guys to come along with LeBron and do what Clay and KD's been doing for Steph? If we get that, this is double digits. But LeBron is going to be LeBron. LeBron's going to have to average. He's probably going to have 40, 15, and 15 in order for them to have a chance. And it still might come down, Skip, to a possession or 2, and somebody has to do something spectacular.
Is he? Is LeBron?
Well, if 40, 15, and 15 ain't spectacular, I don't know what it is.
I know, but if you put him in position to win, is he going to close the deal? I need to know.
As long as he makes the right play, I can live whatever the decision that is.
Right play. Interesting. So you did throw a victory parade the day after the trade deadline, and you thought that was it. That clinched it. You had enough firepower at the trade deadline to go win the championship, right?
Yeah.
And then what happened? You overestimated or what? You said he did have enough help. Now he doesn't have enough help.
No. I said they had enough help to get there, Skip.
Oh.
Skip. You make it seem like they traded for Anthony Davis. You make it seem like they traded for
It felt
Giannis.
like it the day after.
No, stop it, Skip.
You and Chris Broussard, you were celebrating, man.
Skip, considering what they gave up to get these pieces, clearly, do you believe had they stayed intact, they could have made it this far?
No, I don't.
Exactly. So the trade was perfect.
It was good, and I don't know what's happened to Rodney Hood, and I do think they didn't manage him correctly. That there's a way. He is too good to be in this deep in the doghouse, and now he's lost all of his confidence, and there's a way that you coach him out of that because he's better than this. You can say the stage is too big. I don't think so. It depends what comfort zone you put him in as a three-point shooter because he is deadly, and he's played a lot of big regular season games and some playoff games for the Utah Jazz, and obviously that's off radar, out of spotlight.
Everybody, Skip,
Yeah.
everybody can't play next to a transcendent great player. Because here's the thing, playing in Utah and playing with Gordon Hayward is one thing, because there's really no expectations of you advancing to the Western Conference Finals and you getting to the NBA Finals. You're playing against the greatest player in his generation. I called him the GOAT. That's what you're playing next to, and the expectations is you get to the NBA Finals and you win. He has succumbed to the pressure. I know what he was because I remember the game, I think it was right before Christmas or shortly thereafter. Skip, he goes off for 30 against the Cavaliers. He couldn't miss from 3. His first game playing, you remember in the Garden against Boston. He shot the lights out the place.
did.
They win by 30.
He did.
He hadn't been that guy since.
Went to Oklahoma City, shot the lights out, both he and Clarkson. So, I'm going to remind you, George Hill had a big first half last night. Kevin Love had a pretty big game last night, certainly a big third quarter. And in the big picture, Kyle Korver is way better than he's getting minutes to be played. I don't get
agree.
it. So
I don't either.
To me, I would put Kyle Korver in the starting lineup because he's a big game, big time shot maker through consistently through the regular season. I would give him a chance to make shots. I don't want him shooting the shot of shots with the game and the series on the line, but I want him taking shots in the flow where he gets comfortable and gets his hands starting to heat back up because it can really heat up.
Yes.
So let's look at the 3 game threes that have been played in this series, in the finals versus with these two teams against each other back the last 3 years. So Game 3, back in LeBron's house, 2015, LeBron went 40, 12, and 8, and they won 96-91. Going back 2016, they won 120-90, and LeBron went 32, 11, and 6. And by the way, in those games, he had big steals and big blocks, so he's playing hard on the other end, too. Then last year, he went 39, 11, and 9, which seems good enough, big numbers to win, but they were in the position to win because he had the ball in his hands with 1:30 left, up 4 in his house. And for whatever reason, I thought he should have gone ahead and driven the ball on whoever, I think it was Iguodala had him. Just go ahead and you take the shot. You make the free throws because it's just teetering on over. And he kicked it to Kyle Korver to take the 3, and he missed it, and you know the rest of the story. Durant comes down and hits a big shot, and the whole series flipped on its head in Game 3 last year. So, to me, remember, Game 4 last year was a tour de force. Again, you could just say it was a pride game, but remember, they won 137-116, and Kevin Love made 6 threes in that game. So they're capable at home just exploding on people. So, to me, the weight of the world is on LeBron, but I think he can carry the weight of the world. They should win this game.
Can you tell me the time since he's entered the NBA? Can you tell me the time since his junior year in high school the weight of the world has not been on his shoulder?
Yeah, but this will be the biggest weight because I think most people will expect LeBron to rise, shine, and take this game over and make it a series. That's what I think most people will think.
So he scores 40 points, has 15 rebounds, 15 assists. You will say...
Okay, is it going to come to the last possession?
I don't know what it's going to
Right now, this whole series swung at the end of Game 1. You had them. You had them right where you wanted them. They don't know who they are. Who's going to take the shot? Who's going to make the shot? And LeBron has the ball in his hands. And again, to me, on Steph Curry, and remember, that was a hot-handed shooting game. Last night, he didn't shoot from outside the paint at all. He took 6 shots outside the paint. Game 1, he took 14 shots outside the paint. And that was as hot a shooting night from outside the paint as I've seen.
So,
right?
So he only took, hold on, you only say he took 6 shots outside the paint last night? So one would assume he was very aggressive. That means he was driving the ball, right?
No, he wasn't shooting as much. He only took, 20 total shots? 20 shots. What did he take in the Game 1, 32 shots? Okay, so that's 12 fewer shots. Yeah. I don't know.
8 fewer outside, too. Yeah. So he was driving the ball. But anyway, Skip, see, the thing is that I don't know what it's, because I saw, and I don't know, maybe you or your TV, maybe you got the sound up so loud.
I got to get a new TV. I don't.
Yeah, you need that ultra, ultra high def.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
I'm not seeing well. I got
because,
LASIK surgery.
Because had you watched very closely, you see KD not paying attention to JR, and you see Draymond not paying attention right there on and Steph got LeBron at the 3-point line. So I don't. At some point in time, the likelihood of LeBron just raising up without it, because he still got his dribble. He still got his dribble. So if he goes to the right, there's Draymond and Steph. If he goes to the left, there's Steph and KD. So
all I know is at the end of Game 1, if he had just risen up and made an 18-foot jump shot on Steph Curry, we'd be having a whole different conversation right now.
If George Hill makes that free throw and they win, we're having a whole different conversation right now.
You just said George Hill, if he makes a free throw. Who thought he would make a free throw?
80%.
Hey,
He's
I didn't-
80% for his career.
Oh, please.
Oh, so now.
I
So
already
now,
told you.
hold on.
I first guessed it at the trade deadline. I told you don't trust George Hill.
So let me get this.
He
so
was with my Spurs.
I want to make sure I'm hearing you correctly. So George Hill is an 80% free throw shooter, and you're like, oh, father. LeBron James is a 74%, and you like LeBron should be 80. So if 80
With
isn't
two
good,
free throws, and you got to make both of them to win the game to set the tone in the NBA Finals. George Hill is not making both free throws. Trust me. Yeah. And you call Ernestine and ask her if I didn't turn to her and say, I'll give him one. I hope he makes one because I picked Cleveland to win. And I was shocked he made the first one because if he hadn't made the first one, there's no way he's making the second one.
he's an 80%.
It's George Hill.
I don't care.
The Spurs said no. He was on 3 Spurs team that 2 of them lost in the first round, and the other one got swept by Phoenix in the second round.
But he did make it. So we're having a different conversation if he made the second.
What if LeBron, who's had a recent history of making walk-offs, what if he just rose right up on little 6'3" Steph?
If you don't mind me asking, when was the time that you saw LeBron, without taking a dribble, rise up over someone from the three-point line?
He'd taken 14 shots outside the paint and made
No,
7 of them.
I'm not talking about
Wow.
that. That's a separate instance.
Wow.
I'm talking about in this moment. How many times has Skip Bayless seen LeBron James, without dribbling the ball, just pull up with a guy in his face? I'm talking about hugged up
A
against
guy
him.
in his face? You told me Steph's a liability on defense. He's 6'3".
Well, let's talk about Steph.
In his
Has Steph
face?
Curry been the MVP of the finals so far? We'll discuss that next.
No mercy.
Steph Curry dominated in the fourth quarter of Game 2 last night, scoring 16 of his game-high 33 points. He also set a finals record with 9 three-pointers. In the first 2 games of the series, Steph has 62 points and has hit 14 threes. So, Shannon, is Steph the finals MVP so far?
Yeah. You got to give him credit. They're up 2-0. And Skip, we keep saying that, in the previous 3, he hadn't shown the MVP form, Steph, that we wanted to see. But now he's averaging 31. He's averaging 7 threes a game. He's also averaging 8.5 assists, 6.5 rebounds. So, hey, if it was 1-1, Bron could have a compelling argument.
He could.
40 points, 10.5 rebounds, 8.5.
If it's 1-1, it's LeBron.
Yeah.
No.
But after seeing what Steph is doing and how he's doing it, this is the Steph that we see in the regular season that we haven't seen as consistently in the finals. Well, now he's putting it together. He's everything that you thought he could be, and sometimes even a little more with the way he's making those dagger threes to snuff out any run that the Cavaliers tried to sustain last night. Yeah, for me, it's not even close. It's Steph Curry. They're up 2-0. He's over 30 points a game, 8 assists a game, over 6 rebounds a game. Yeah, it's Steph Curry, and it's not even close. He actually looks like the best player on the team currently.
Okay. So I did predict that Steph would be the MVP of this series, but it would go 7. Golden State would win at home in Game 7. And yet, I told you your man LeBron would still be have an outside shot at becoming the first since Jerry West to win MVP in a losing effort, as Jerry West lost a home Game 7, as you recall.
That was the first year they actually had the MVP for the finals.
So, quick aside on a couple things. What shocked me was it took Steph Curry 20 finals games to hit 9 threes, to break Ray Allen's record, because 16 times in regular season games, he's made 9 or more threes. So this isn't like a big new deal to him. He's done this a bunch of times before. That's how great a shooter he is.
Hadn't he made 12 in a game or 13 or something? Didn't he? I think he might have the record now.
Yeah, and he also had the record last night for attempts. He
Yeah.
shot 17 times from 3. Got no problem with that. So that was number 1. And then number 2, it's interesting that after 2 games, he's I think by all accounts, the leader for Finals MVP.
Yeah.
And yet in Game 1, as I've mentioned a couple times, in overtime, he played all 5 minutes, went 0 for 1, and scored 0 points. Wow, that's interesting. His team won 17-7, but he didn't have much to do with that, right? And that was the turning point of the series so far. So here's my gut feeling about Steph Curry. And I thought it was very interesting what Draymond said after the game last night. They're already. It feels like an all-star game where the hometown guy, everybody in the locker room says, "Let's let Magic win this one at home,
Right.
whoever it is." I've been at all kinds of all-star games where somebody said, "I was."
Anthony Davis in
Yeah.
New Orleans had 50 points and
Yeah.
like
Heck,
42 of was dunked.
I was at an all-star game in Seattle in which everybody said on the West, "Let's make Tom Chambers the MVP." Tom Chambers?
Yeah.
And he won it. And it feels like Golden State is saying, you know what? It's Steph's turn to win. Let's make Steph the MVP this time. Again, front running, hot dogging, showboating. It's over the top overconfidence to me, but maybe they can back it up. So that's Draymond said after the game last night. It looks like Steph's lining himself up for something great if we continue to win.
Right.
Well, who would say that after 2 games? You're only halfway home if you're going to sweep, right?
Right.
Well, what team would say that about a team? What teammate would say that about a star of the team? Looks like
Draymond
he's
on
lining
that
up,
team.
right? Isn't that true?
Yeah.
Right. I mean, but now you just accept it as, oh, that's just who the Warriors are. Well, I guess. I hope Cleveland's accepting
Yeah,
this.
we've never seen anything like this. I mean, Steph is averaging 31. KD is averaging 26. Clay is averaging 22. KD is averaging 26, 9, and 6. I mean, so as historically, as historic as LeBron is playing, and that game was epic, there's a reason. Because you think about it, Skip, no other player had ever scored 50 points and lost the finals game. So
Yep.
that just tells you how, because normally that's deflating. Everybody can't withstand an onslaught like that, especially because normally when teams have these historic, a player have this historic number. You remember Michael's 55 against, I think it was 55 against Phoenix. They couldn't withstand that onslaught. First of all, it's very rare. It's only the 6th time it's ever happened in all these final games. They started playing, you got to go back to the 50s they started playing finals games, Skip. So it's not like something that we see normally. We've seen a lot of 50-point games in regular playoff games, but not in the finals. And for LeBron to lose, but when you got one guy averaging 31, 8, and 6, the other guy averaging 26, 9, and 6, and the other guy averaging 22, well, unless LeBron's going to give you 55, 15, and 15, and Kevin Love's give you 20 and whatever,
Yep.
it's hard to compete with that.
Yeah, this is the same Steph Curry that I've reminded you many times has never lived up in the postseason to his regular season greatness, in which he's won, obviously, 2 regular season MVPs.
Yes.
During regular seasons, his PER on average has been 28, which is very high. During the playoffs, including these 2 games of the finals, his PER over his career is 24. That's a huge drop of 4 points in PER. So he's never been that guy in the postseason. And I will never forget what happened to Steph Curry as the Golden State Warriors were blowing the 3-1 lead to your Cavaliers in 2016, because in games 5, 6, and 7, he was, by his standards, by 2-time MVP standards, he was horrendously bad. He shot 37% from the field, 36 from 3 when he makes about half of his threes usually. And in the fourth quarters of those 3 games, he shot 6 for 20, 3 for 12 from 3, and made 0 free throws. In the fourth quarter of those 3 games, with the season teetering, you're about to crumble and blow a 3-1 lead, and that's your 2-time MVP, and tell me he didn't come up even smaller than 6'3" in those games.
Well, he didn't play well. Definitely did not play well in games 5 and 6 and 7. But I think the thing is different this time around, Skip, is that he's playing with a lot more confidence. And you look at the way he's shooting the ball, yeah, he's a different. His mentality is different, and he knows maybe in those games, Skip, he felt that if I don't do it, no one's going to get it. It's going to get done, and he put a lot more pressure on himself than really needed to be there.
Yep.
He can relax now because remember, he was 6 of 18 going into the fourth quarter, and his teammates were shooting 70%. He had a 10-point lead, so now he can come out there and he sees that first one goes in. When that first ball goes in for him, he's like, okay.
And that was a big shot. That was a touche shot on LeBron.
Yep.
But again, they're still up 7, and that put them back up 10.
10.
So it's not like it's tied and you went back up 3. It wasn't tit for a tat.
Well,
we
I
were
think
just
the
going
thing
back and
it's
forth.
just such a huge momentum swing because
Yep.
that's one thing. It's kind of like skipping football. Okay, you had a lead. Okay, the team scores, and
Yep.
then guess what? You find a way to answer their score, and the lead is back to what it originally was. But the team was hoping that by us getting a touchdown, it would deflate you. You go 3 and out, and now all of a sudden we get back on the field with a chance to tie you. Kind of like Pittsburgh, Jacksonville. Jacksonville had that big lead,
They
and
did.
here come Pittsburgh, and then guess what? Jacksonville answers back and closes the door. So that's what Steph Curry did, and that's what they do a lot, Skip. You make these runs, you're like, yeah, we right there. And then Steph says, no, you're not. Or KD says, no, you're not. Clay says, no, you're not. And it went from 10 to 7, back to 10, back to 7, to 13, 16, 19. Okay, timeout. Okay, come on over here and sit down with us, bro.
By the way, you didn't mention that Jacksonville then went up to Foxborough to play, and they have the lead in the fourth quarter. We got this. Nope, said one man who plays quarterback for the New England Patriots. You don't got this.
Kind of like the Super Bowl. Y'all had that lead, 33-32. You're like, oh, we got this. You gonna be celebrating. He gonna be counting like Michael.
Yeah.
Oh no.
No.
Oh, Foles said no.
Nick Foles,
Nick Foles like this here.
best quarterback in
I'm
Philly.
going to Disney. I'm going to Disneyland. They'll be best quarterback in football, lady Skip.
Yeah.
That what you said?
That's what I know. He's the best quarterback for the Eagles.
No. He's the best quarterback in the NFL.
Oh.
Yeah.
Will Shannon give LeBron another A+ for his performance last night? We'll discuss that next.
No mercy.
LeBron scored 29 points last night after his career playoff high 51 in Game 1. He added 9 rebounds and 13 assists, but also had 5 turnovers. Last night's loss was LeBron's 29th in the finals, second most in NBA history, behind Jerry West. We're joined by FS1 NBA analyst Chris Broussard. Welcome, Chris.
Morning.
Morning.
Great to be here.
How would you grade LeBron's performance last night?
Well, look, if you grade him by human standards, I think you'd have to give him an A. If you grade him by the superhuman standards that he set in Game 1 and kind of really throughout the playoffs, and I know that Skip Bayless holds him too, I think you give him a B+. So I'm going to go in between and give him an A-. Look, I thought he was good. I thought Golden State said he almost beat us by himself in Game 1. We're not letting that happen. So they doubled him. They got the ball out of his hands, and he made the right plays. To have 13 assists on a team that shot 41%, and you take LeBron out of the mix, his teammates shot 38%. On open looks, they got 19 open shots. They made 3. That's 15%. Take LeBron out of it, they were 2 for 16. So he got no help. Even hustle stats. LeBron had the most deflections of any player yesterday, 6. Just to put that in perspective, Paul George and Robert Covington led the league in deflections. That's a hustle stat. They averaged 3 a game.
Yet in defensive win shares, LeBron ranks at the bottom of any player on
Was
either
that
team
yesterday?
for these 2 games.
Well,
both games.
when you play 44 minutes
Thank you.
and your team is getting beat handily, you're
No, but
going to have...
You're by far the worst on your own team.
He wasn't the worst.
So you believe that? You believe that, Skip?
I do.
He was the
I don't
worst
even see him
defender.
playing.
Come
I don't.
on.
Half the time he just stands in the lane. No,
So
he
how do you
does.
get those
Here's
deflections?
the proof, too, that it wasn't on LeBron. In the third quarter, he had 7 points, 4 assists. And yet, so he didn't take over, and yet they outscored Golden State 34-31 because his teammates were hitting open shots. So if guys make shots, LeBron would have had a good game, and they might have won yesterday. So I thought he played well. I mean, did he take over like Game 1? No, but you can't score 50 every day in the finals.
And I agree.
29-13.
I saw what you saw. I gave him a B because I didn't like the turnovers. There were times that he had Tristan. First of all, Tristan is not a play that you run plays for. They tried to feed Tristan in the post when he had Klay Thompson on him or he had Steph Curry. He's not a back-to-the-basket player. He get lobs, he get put back, he gets hustle plays. But to try to run a play says, okay, you got Klay or you got Steph on you, we're going to dump the ball. That's not what he is. And so with that, that's why I gave him, because some of those turnovers, I'm like, Bron, no. I get it that he has Steph Curry or he has Klay on him, but don't give Tristan the ball in that situation. You think about, if you watching the video that's being shown right now, JR missing wide open shots, Skip. He missing wide, I'm talking about not even close. Skip, these shots are not even close. I ain't talking about rimming out. I'm talking about bottom of the rim or they back of the rim. I mean, I'm like, JR, bro, you got to hit one of these and still. And it just goes to show you how we're grading LeBron. The dude had 29, 13, and 9. He shot 50%. He shot 50% from the 3. And we're like, man, he was bad.
That's why I'm surprised you even gave him a B.
He was bad.
That you were that low.
Because of the turnover.
Because 5 turnovers, I mean, he's handling the ball every possession.
Right.
Against one of the best defenses in the league. I remember one terrible pass to Tristan where he just kind of lobbed it in.
Over the top.
Yeah, that was ridiculous. But, I mean, you're going to turn the ball
They
over.
double it.
So, timeout. This is the most shocking moment in the history of Undisputed. Shannon Sharpe just gave LeBron James a B. That's the most
shocked.
objective letter grade you've ever given to him.
I gave him
have
B
never.
before.
I was waiting for maybe A, but probably A plus somewhere in there,
No.
right?
Nope. Turnover.
You gave him an A plus.
Turnovers.
Okay, turnovers.
Yeah.
5 is about what he's been averaging.
Yeah.
in
And
the playoffs.
by the way, he had 3 other passes that got deflected, and you were lucky he had 5 turnovers total. He could have had 8 because they got knocked up in the air, and his guys somehow came back with
Well,
the ball.
that should have been a foul call. That went as a turnover against LeBron, too. So he could have had 4.
That's true.
Oh, okay.
We'll talk about that later,
Okay.
though. I'm not sure about that. So I'm going to give LeBron James a C+ for his effort last night because I have been told repeatedly by the man across the table from me he is better than Michael Jordan. So you say superhuman. Does that mean is Jordan superhuman? I don't know. I thought he was just a really good human. But I'm just going on the Michael Jordan scale. And I got to tell you, the shock of shocks to me last night in the first minute of the game was I expected to see takeover LeBron. I expected to see Game 1 LeBron. I really expected to see Game 2 LeBron from 2015 after he had lost Kyrie in overtime and did not have Kevin Love to start with in that series. Do you remember Game 2 at Golden State? He just imposed his will from the tip-off on Golden State. He took the game over. He controlled the pace because he dribbled the ball up the floor, which he did much of the time last night, and he forced the action on both ends of the floor. He was high in steals, deflections, whatever, rebounds. He played an all-around powerhouse game that he got to overtime, and he needed a little bit of help in overtime from little Matthew Dellavedova, who made a play at the end where he snatched an offensive rebound and put it back. But still, LeBron put them in position to close that deal. And he went home 1-1 and then won Game 3 at home, and we know the rest of the story. But the point is, the guy who came out last night was point guard LeBron from the start. He was the passive passer from the start. I'm talking mostly through the first half, to the point that the great Chauncey Billups said on ABC at halftime, LeBron looks tired to me. And I'm thinking, LeBron looks tired in the first half of Game 2 of the finals after he had, what did he play so far? Like 1 game in the first 6 days of the finals? Yeah. Well, that's no good. So I saw a guy who was tired? No, I did not. I just thought he came out in the head of, I'm going to distribute the basketball. I'm going to focus on getting everybody involved throughout the first half, and it won't work against this team because they're too good. They have too many offensive weapons.
What did 10 points in the first quarter, what did that tell you?
Okay, but if you're in full-on attack mode the way you were in Game 1, what happened in first quarter of Game 1? What happened in the second quarter? Okay?
He had 12.
But what was the score? What was the score?
They were
they're hanging right in there, right?
Right in there.
So they were only down 4.
What were they down
4, but then they're down 13 at half.
Okay.
Well, you're in trouble, man. At Oracle, it's going to be hard to come back from 13. It just is. I expected him. He's the only nuclear weapon on the floor. He just is. And when he goes off on them, they're afraid of him. And last night, every time he passed it to the perimeter, they're like, oh, thank you, because they don't want him attacking, getting in the lane. His best assists were when he would get in the lane and get Tristan a dunk. And in the third quarter, that's what was happening. And he was kicking to Kevin Love, who is a more trustworthy three-point shooter under these bright lights.
Well, the thing
he made 3 in the third quarter.
Chris made some great points, Skip. They were doubling him in the post. They wasn't letting him go one-on-one. And they did also, if you notice, Kevin Durant was picking him up from 94 feet. Yeah. Draymond was picking him up 94 feet. Bell was picking him up 94 feet because remember, Bell got a foul trying to not let LeBron get the inbound play. Now, I know you thought, because they also had KD and Draymond in the backcourt also, but I know you thought that LeBron should have ran through KD and Draymond, get that ball, because I know you blamed that turnover on him too.
Well, I just saw him throw down Jordan. Maybe just like he pushed him down from behind.
So you didn't see that hold, huh?
I saw it.
You can't go. I mean, what he did in Game 1 was incredible.
Until the end.
And you can't do that. This is a great defense. And even though Boston probably ranked higher, I would put this defense because of Draymond and KD with his length.
Yes.
And then you
And
got
Klay.
JaVale McGee at the rim, who I know he's not great, but he's a rim protector. You know, he's long. And Klay is a great defender. Like, to go at them and get close to 50 every game just isn't going to happen.
So last night he missed 6 shots at the rim, which he doesn't usually do. Was that because he was tired or because they were better defenders? Kevin Durant said after the game, we played with more force. We tried to challenge him. We tried to provide more resistance than we provided in game 1. Did they? I guess they did.
I think Golden State, like the Cavs, the worst thing happened to them in game 1. You played great, but you lost. So I think what they did was they woke Golden State up. Look, Golden State's human. They've shown a tendency to get complacent as it is without all the help from outside. But everybody saying it's going to be a blowout, they probably were a bit complacent. Then in game 2, they woke up, took them a little bit more seriously, and still were up 1-0. So if Cleveland had gotten that game, at least you win the game when they took you lightly. Now you don't even win it, so you're in an 0-2 hole.
They're going home. Like I said, at some point in time, LeBron's going to have to get some help from a role player. JR's going to have to give him something. Someone Kerr off the bench. Someone's going to have to give him something because we know the big three probably for this series is going to average 20-plus points a game. Steph might average 30. So you get 3 guys. I don't know if we've ever had that. Have we ever had a finals where 3 guys average at least 20?
That's a good question. I'll check this
Because
out
if
later.
they do, I feel very comfortable. If you find 3 guys that average 20 in the finals, they probably winning. Now, maybe some of those old Lakers when they had Belger and Elgin Baylor
and
West and maybe Goodrich and some of those guys, maybe they did. But in modern times, Skip, like you say, modern basketball, I don't think we've seen it. You going back, let's just say going back since Bird and Magic and them coming forward. I don't know if we've ever had a
But in
situation.
game 1, they all had 20, right? Didn't they all 3 have 20 in game 1?
Yes.
I think they did.
Yeah.
And yet LeBron had the ball in his hands with 7 seconds left with Steph Curry on him at the top of the circle.
Skip, he stopped
You're in
saying,
that,
Skip,
but
Skip,
you're in
stop
that
saying
position.
That. Stop saying
Well,
that.
it's the fact.
Because KD and
But-
Draymond was at the free throw line.
And he got fouled, according to the NBA. Now,
did.
that would have been your dream scenario to see him go to the free throw
And
line.
make both of them.
But you know what? I'd like his chances way more than George Hill's. I
Hill's
would.
an 80%.
I-
Look,
not in
LeBron
that
obviously
situation
much more
he is.
Clutch, but still, he's 80% free throw shooter.
But hold on, let me get this.
The pass,
George
though,
Hill?
I'm with, when he initially passed that, I was like, why'd he throw it? But Hill was wide open for a layup.
And that's-
You gotta
Don't
make that
put
a layup.
the ball in George Hill's hands with the whole series teetering. You got him.
It was
you
a
got
layup,
him.
Skip.
Yeah.
A layup.
No,
If I can't pass to him for a layup, he shouldn't be on the team.
Okay, if I'm LeBron James and I've shot 14 shots outside the paint and made 7 of them, which is rare for him. He had a rare hot hand, and I got little Steph on me at the top of the circle. I'm just going to go up and shoot it because I'm LeBron. I'm according to him, I'm better than Michael Jordan.
Chris, how many times have you seen LeBron without a dribble just raise up and shoot over the top of somebody?
Because he gets a rhythm.
Thank
that
you.
Dribble.
Just do it. You're
It's a
LeBron
rhythm.
James.
But you're asking, so now you're
He's
asking.
not a tremendous outside shooter. You
So
know
now
Well,
that.
he was that night.
But
I've never seen him shoot better than that.
But here's the thing.
I have not.
But you
in a
still-
big game, I have not.
If you notice, LeBron always like to check his feet. He'll get the ball. He gonna step to the side. He gonna let it go. As far as just getting the ball with no dribble, just pull up over the top of
not
someone.
a spot
That's
up.
not what he is, Skip Bayless. So now in that
Okay.
situation, you're asking him to be something he's not.
Draymond also had a lane violation, which means George Hill should have had a third free
Yes.
throw. Could he have made it? Probably not. Probably not.
I would bet he'd have made 2 of 3.
I don't know about that.
You hate Georgia.
I don't hate him. I just know I've been consistent. I've told you from the start, the Spurs just never could love him.
That used to be the old mantra, Skip. You remember it used to be 3 to make 2.
Oh, yeah.
You didn't
Back
get
in
you
the- in the
back
day.
in the day. You got 3
70s.
chances to make 2 free throws. That was. I'm glad they did away with that. But
You still have overtime. You got him. You're going to overtime.
I think they were so deflated.
they were done, Skip. They were done. That was
Because
a wrap.
you to play this Golden State team, you have to be at your, especially as the talent challenge as the
Yes.
Cavs are.
He wasn't his best. You got to take a second, regroup, and make it happen.
Yeah,
It's easier to
okay.
say sitting here on this desk.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Yeah, you're right. Chris, thanks for joining us. No mercy. Thanks for listening to the Undisputed Podcast. I'm Joy Taylor. We're back again tomorrow morning at 9:30 Eastern. We'll see you then.
Fox Sports 1 of 1.